And I think this is also where executives have a responsibility is defining culture or supporting culture, which means how do we deal with mistakes? What does it mean to make a mistake? Is it, I believe I'm a big fan of I'm overly critical. I judge everything, right? I judge myself 10 times more than I judge others, but I don't judge to be prejudiced.
Yeah.
I don't condemn for what I always ask myself the question, is this good for us or is this bad for us? And if it's bad for us, okay, it's gone. What are we going to learn from? How are we going to change from? This classical agile model, do we want to keep it? Do we want to increase the things we're doing? Do we want to stop the things we're doing? Do we want to start new things to compensate for it? I think this you never lose if you don't lose the lesson attached. And I think this is part of what executive responsibility in the sake of supporting a conducive culture where people feel motivated, directed to participate, also feel responsible, but they don't break down in fear, oh my God, who's going to be blamed? Who are we going to blame? Because I think one of the things we have in traditional project management is this kind of whipping boy mentality where, okay, we don't learn from our mistakes, we blame somebody, right? Because only one person is responsible for what the system did wrong.
And I think the important part in there is, as an executive, to be also open for criticism.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the people who are doing the job see things you don't see. Yeah. And they must not fear to come to you.
Well, not only that, if you have a leader who has the humility and the fortitude to take feedback, even if it exposes them to a certain extent, and roll with the punches, to take the punch and come back. I think both my kids are tennis players. My older one was actually competitive for quite some time, and one of the biggest challenges he was an incredible tennis player. He used to win the first set against good players, usually 6-0, and then the second set he would start falling apart because he started second guessing. He was afraid, what if I make a mistake? And tennis, like boxing and also like golf, those are three sports that are really psychologically difficult on you, because tennis, for example, you can be leading, you can be the better tennis player by miles than your opponent. You can be leading 6-0 and 5-0 and you can still lose the match.
Yes.
And the other way around, you can still win the match.
Yes.
Right? And I think it's in particular in our modern world, and I think the new Generation Z can contribute to this, but they need the guidance of generations that passed that still have this understanding, this depth of knowledge to say, listen, we're going to make mistakes, but we learn from our mistakes. That's hugely important.
If you take the metaphor of the tennis player and bring it into business context, and we're talking about mission and vision, take it as an example. What is the mission of a tennis player? The mission of the tennis player is he loves to do it because this is what he feels makes him happy, whatever. Yeah, that's why he does it. What's the vision of the tennis player? Maybe I'm just fantasizing. In year 2026, winning Wimbledon. In 28, maybe being number one in the list. Yeah. And what is so clear in terms of a sportsman is not, or obviously not so clear in terms of business.
Yeah, I think defining vision and mission is really much more difficult than we think. I would, if sometimes I have to think about what the questions. I would probably say because I just recently I follow some professional tennis coaches on Instagram, and one of them recently said, I think it was Agassi who actually said, you should not dream of being number one. I would disagree with that. I think he probably dreamt of it. I think the vision is, I think it helps you to say, either I want to be a professional top 10 tennis player, or I want to win a Grand Slam to leave it open, or even if you say I want to win. I think that vision is good. I think the mission needs to be to be the best possible tennis player I can, and portfolio management, to tie this in, would be to say, what are my capabilities? I'm going Balanced Scorecard a little bit. What are my capabilities? What tournaments are out there? How much do I get for each tournament? How many of these tournaments do I have to play where I can win? How many of these? They say, okay, I've got 1,000 tournaments. I can't play 1,000 tournaments. No. So how many of which tournaments am I going to? So to create a clear roadmap on a granular annual level, what matches I'm going to play, play them through, and then they were coming to the next level, to have the resilience to say, listen, in the beginning, I'm going to lose. You know, I love this from martial arts, this classical saying, you know, the novice has lost once or twice, a master has lost 1,000 times. The proportion of winning, or the number of winning, is proportional to the number of losses that you have. The more you're willing to lose and learn, the more you can move forward. But like, once again, this is a level of transparency I think that a lot of us are culturally not mature enough for yet, because of the embarrassment, because of shame, who's to blame, that whole different thing.
I liked something you just said.
I hope there's something in there.
No, especially in comparison when you said, which of the tournaments do I need to play? Yeah.